One step forward and 10 steps back. I bet on red, but it should have been black. They say there's no...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spoiler Warning Podcast. This is review number 838 with a review of Power Ballad. I'm Christopher Schnese.
And I'm Stephen Miller.
And if you're joining us for the first time, the Spoiler Warning Podcast is a weekly film review program. Each week on the show, we're going to dive in, debate, discuss, and argue over the latest films coming to a theater near you. This week, we had a chance to talk about The Power of Grayskull, but instead, we're coming together to talk about The Power of Ballads and this little film, the latest film from John Carney. I think it's safe to say, Stephen, we are fans of John Carney films.
Yeah, I think we're carnivores. Yeah. We're definitely into it. The thing I'm going to say about John Carney is even when he's not great, he's great to me. Like that. I think that's the kind of fan. We're bought into his thing.
Yeah, I think we might be the only people who are fans of Flora and Son.
I mean, you were more of a fan than I was. I had problems, but I was still enchanted with our terrible seats at TIFF. And well, they were terrible for watching the movie. They were wonderful for watching him lead the crowd in a sing-along after.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're won over by it in the end. I think if I'm being real, not talking about Power Ballad yet, excluding that, if you plot his trajectory, it's like one impeccable, right? Obviously, out of the gates, great. Begin again. Very nice. A step down from once, but it's nice. It is pleasant enough. Keira Knightley's a star, right? Yeah. And that sells it a lot. Sing Street, adored. Love that one. Back Up Again. Flora and Son, ooh. Feels like he's starting to really phone it in, But so for me, it's been up and down, right? It isn't like it's been just like a slow degradation or anything like that.
But what you're saying is there's a chance this one was an upswing.
Exactly. There's a chance.
Maybe.
There's always a chance, Any good power ballad has the up and down and the upswing again. And maybe this would be the bridge, right? Yeah. This would be the one that saves me.
So you're saying that there's a chance that this film is either an arena full of people singing along, or it is the end of a wedding where there's two people standing there.
Yes, and we are the two people.
Yes. So we're about to find out which one it is, Stephen. Should we play the trailer for this thing?
Let's do it.
Let's take a listen to the trailer for Power Ballad, and then come back and give everybody listening a review.
Now, they're just starts, okay? But you get the vibe.
Can I make a suggestion? Where do you go like...
Never gonna run if you don't walk. Never gonna talk, but don't run.
Don't look down.
I could tell within 2 minutes of meeting you, you're not just some boy band guy.
And you are too good for that wedding band.
How to write a song without you.
I've been toying with this one for years.
Yeah, I like that.
'Cause every song I ever wrote in my life.
This song changed my life.
It's my song. I wrote it.
Do you think it is easy to turn a song into a hit?
So good.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the trailer for Power Ballad. Basically the story of a guy who, once upon a time had a band, but he settled down, had a kid. He's living a different life now. He's fronting a wedding band. He's been working on this song for a long time. One night he meets this guy who is up and coming. He's a guy who's been in a boy band for a while, but he's trying to break it out on his own. He spends one night at a wedding hanging out with this guy, working on some music together, kind of jamming together, working on some stuff. And that guy goes off in a need to find one single to help him break out. Kind of maybe borrows a song that maybe our lead character has been working on for, his whole life. And then that song becomes a massive, huge, giant hit. And then the lead of this film may go crazy trying to figure out how to get a little piece of that action. The film we watch is what unfolds as this character derails his life trying to, at least get a little piece of what's going on. Stephen Miller, what did you think of Power Ballad?
So, look, John Carney is not going for originality, right? He's not going for realism. He's abandoned the idea of plausible character beats. This is all very clear now. It was clear with Flora and Son. It's been clear earlier than that. He has one thing he wants to do. That is to make us feel something by way of dad music, right? That's his thing. It's what he does. It's about the joy of making music together, about having very earnest ballads sung directly at the audience and hoping that it'll make us feel something. And everything else is just going to be the thinnest glue required to make that a reality. And in that light, yeah, this movie worked on me. I mean, when it opened, I was angry. I felt like it was insulting my intelligence. Like the moment Paul Rudd's character, Rick Power, opens his mouth to sing when he's performing the wedding, the mix is so radically different. It is so far from diegetic. It's like they're like making fun of my desire to be watching a movie. You know, this movie it's quite outrageous in the sense of trying to make us believe that Paul Rudd, the 50-something, I don't know what the character is supposed to be, year-old down-and-out wedding singer, is this perfectly pitched, and the band is so perfectly put together, and like right from the jump, it departs from any sense of realism. And I was thinking, oh boy, this is going to be the Carney movie that finally like really whiffs it for me. This is not going to be the one that saves me. This is going to be my albatross, you know? And then there's something about the way John Carney makes his movies where there's a scene, a series of moments early in this film where there's a once type situation between Paul Rudd's Rick Power and Nick Jonas's Danny Wilson, where they spend the evening drinking and making music together. And something about that vibe just pulled me in. It pulled me in spite of my brain, in spite of every part of me that knew where the movie was going. And I didn't actually know the plot of the movie. Like I didn't literally know what was going to happen, but I knew they're going to write music together, and somehow something about what they wrote is going to be a big deal because this is a John Carney movie and the music is the reason that we're watching it.
Yeah.
And it got to me. And the songs in the moment as I was watching the movie, that there's this big test you have to do with we talk about this all the time. When a movie presents something as the great song, the great work of art, the great play, whatever, does it pull it off? When I watch it, do I believe that thing is actually the great life-changing thing? In this movie, I believe that for the central song. And the moment I went home and listened on Spotify, I did not believe it anymore.
Oh, no.
But I still like it. I felt fond of it. But there's movie magic that John Carney does. Something about watching characters perform music, seeing what it means to them, the songs that they're singing. It wins you over. It makes you feel something. It makes your heart soar. Like this movie opens in that way that I said was infuriating, where Paul Rudd, he's been singing a bunch of like 70s and 80s classics for this wedding band. And he decides, you know what, everybody, you're an amazing crowd. I'm going to sing one of my originals. And he is in his own world vibing with this song. And in my head, I was like, it's a damn good song. This song is working, you know, this song is killing it. And I listened to that song later in Spotify and I was like, this is one of the dumber songs I've ever heard. You know? I mean, it's the Dear Evan Hansen lyric effect. Like when I listened to it, I'm like, okay.
When a kid with a cast on his arm is like awkwardly walking through a high school, this song is brilliant. But when
exactly the moment he's gone though, then I'm not feeling it anymore. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about this movie that I found very earnest. I think Paul Rudd continues to be very winning here, and I want to root for him as this character. You can read this movie, at least in part, as like John Carney talking about growing irrelevance and like accepting the fact that he's not going to be the cool, hot, groundbreaking filmmaker. He's going to be the the dad music person who is trying to reach out and touch the audience and like just accepting that that's who you are, you know. It moved me. There are reveals about the inspiration behind the music, stuff that again could be pretty obvious or formulaic, but like in the moment, did I tear up? Yeah, I teared up. I was sitting alone in a theater in Puerto Rico all by myself watching this movie, and I laughed out loud when Paul Rudd wanted me to laugh, and I teared up a little bit when it wanted to get my heartstrings, and I was like, God damn it, John Carney, you did it again. It doesn't take much, but your formula works on me. And Nick Jonas, perfectly fine in this role. I believe him, obviously, as a former boy band trying to go solo. I believe...
Really? It didn't work for me.
Yeah, no. I believe him enough. Like, the movie, he couldn't have carried the movie. I don't think he has a lot of, like, dramatic heft, necessarily. But as the vision of what Paul Rudd could have been, and sort of the contrast... It works. I don't know. I walked away thinking like I wanted to be mad at you, movie, but damn it, you got me. You got me. How did you feel about Power Ballad?
Yeah, I mean, I love this movie. I mean, I also enjoyed Flora and Son more than you did.
Right.
These things, I don't have any kids, but the dad stuff of it all definitely works on me. You know, you already mentioned that we talk a lot in films, especially I talk a lot in films about like, don't fucking tell me this is the greatest thing in the world and then show me something that is not the greatest thing in the world. For me, this is one of those things where like, yeah, when they're playing music, I'm like, yeah, that is a pretty fucking good song.
Yeah.
And like, and I haven't gone and listened to it on Spotify afterwards, so I haven't ruined the movie magic of it. But like those moments where there is a scene where Paul Rudd walks into an amphitheater or an arena into one of Nick Jonas's shows and hears this song being played live and just stares at all like the women in the crowd singing along.
Yeah.
And he feels like he has his Mother Mary moment where he gets to vicariously live through the experience of like, this is my song is doing this to this crowd. And he's like seeing the awe of it. And like, I feel that awe in that moment. I know it's all movie magic, but like I still feel it, right? Like these moments in this thing, like I love everything that this film is doing. I know that it's totally doing this thing just to do it. Like there's nothing profound that it's doing, but I come to these films for this, right? Like, like this is literally the AMC Nicole Kidman thing, right? I am coming here to feel something, and this type of film makes me feel it, and it may be slightly formulaic. It's definitely not as formulaic as what I assume the You Can Only Imagine 2 was, or whatever that movie was called. This, I genuinely feel like at least there's something there, right? You were saying that like you imagine that there's a little bit of like John Carney feeling like he is the Paul Rudd character, wishing that like I think he is achieving what he wants to do. I think he does reach out and touch people with these type of films because there is a genuineness there to like, I don't feel like he is trying to Nicholas Sparks his way to people's heart. I think he genuinely feels this stuff that he is putting out into the world in a way that he is not trying to manipulate people. He just like loves this shit and like he's putting it out in the world so other people can love it too. At least that's kind of the way I interpret it. Like it feels joyous in a way that that, you know, if you were watching this at a festival, people would be on stage being like, this is the most joyous shit that I was doing, you know, like
yeah, this would definitely be the Life of Chuck screening for sure.
Yeah. And like, you know, I just thought it was really fun. I also like, you know, I was obviously being sarcastic when I was joking that, you know, Nick Jonas didn't sell me on being a boy band guy trying to go solo. But what I do like is that he wasn't immediately a villain, right? He has sympathy to him. He's playing a character who has his own desperation and is trying to do something and like kind of stumbles into the way he is kind of borrowing and stealing this song, right? It's not just a guy who was like, oh, I'm gonna steal like this instantly. Like he wasn't like, oh, I'm like the second he hears it, he's not gonna like, oh, I'm gonna turn that into a single, right? He kind of like backdoors his way into like kind of having to borrow it, right? Like he's not just.
I feel like the movie is a little muddy in terms of what I'm supposed to think his inner monologue was at the start. Like, not at the very start. I mean, like, the moment of stealing and the days that follow. I can think of at least, like, 2 different versions of what he thinks is going on, and both of them are plausible. But he doesn't really communicate it to me. You know?
I think, without being too spoilery, that he was taking a break to clear his head, and if his house was empty, he doesn't steal the song.
Sure. Oh, yeah. I see that. What I wonder is if after that he has deluded himself because of the alcohol and the haze of everything that had happened into overestimating how much of it was his. For most of the movie, I couldn't tell. And then in the end, it kind of feels like it snaps into one interpretation. And I'm like, well, that doesn't really track with how nice a guy you seem.
There's a scene in a private jet where before like shit starts hitting the fan, where it clearly implies that he's like, maybe I kind of stole the song.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's also in the other Mother Mary moment of this film, or the almost Mother Mary moment of this film, I feel like it definitely makes you think that he wants to admit it.
Sure.
But whatever. That's neither here nor there.
I hear you.
Yeah, but I really this is one of those films where like. I was kind of on board with it from even the opening wedding thing, right? Like I get your kind of annoyance with it, at the beginning of it, but I was kind of just
like when the audio mix just changes so radically. It wasn't a part of you like, okay, are we doing a jukebox musical? Like, are you just gonna like play songs while Paul Rudd lip syncs to me? Like I know technically Paul Rudd is singing in the same sense that like, I don't know, a Twinkie has real vanilla somewhere in the like original mix. I'm aware that like Paul Rudd is the credited singer here, but the degree of processing, I was just like, dude, movie, you're not even trying to make this seem like the real guy doing it.
Well, regardless, I at least he still has that like energy, right? That I was on board with what he was bringing to the film.
I believe he can sing. Like I think later in the movie, especially when he's noodling around with Nick Jonas, I feel like that does demonstrate that he can. And it's like they wanted the soundtrack to be killer, so they just were like, we're gonna studio the fuck out of these songs. Yeah. I didn't, after the initial feeling, I didn't mind it at all, and by the end I was like, hell yeah, Paul, sing your heart out. I think all in all, what the film is doing overall is, I think, is fun and enjoyable. And I think too that this film, it doesn't completely do it, and it kind of backtracks on it a little bit, but it at least somewhat subverts the expected play out of what this kind of story does, right? Like the idea of what Paul Rudd really, really wants in actuality is different than what you kind of get in this sort of type of story, right? Mm-hmm. Like what he really, really wants is just something so that he can stop feeling like he's being gaslit. He doesn't actually want to check, right? He just wants to feel sane and get an acknowledgement. And I feel like in any other story, he actually wants the riches, you know what I mean? And I feel like just that alone makes this not as conventional a story as other type of stories. I agree, though. I mean, this is nodding at intense spoilers, but the end of the movie, which I found charming as hell, doesn't actually fit with any of that story. It's just like a little cherry on top where he's like, okay, but whatever. Let's do this other movie.
But that's like a not this movie. It's literally not.
I know.
So I think it's mostly for the emotionality of it, right? And
I will say, the emotionality of what I'm going to call the final scene, like before the music starts playing, it got me good. That was like the biggest tearjerker moment for me. Like, again, John Carney just knows how to get me. There are two things that this movie quintessentially is. One is it has the quintessential Irishness of a John Carney movie, where it's just like, in this case, I actually love that, like, Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas are not pretending to be Irish or anything. Like, they are Americans who are here, and Paul Rudd is like, look at my wife and daughter and this beautiful place that I live, while I also have this little bit of the Sing Street feeling of like, I'm too big for this town. But like, there's something so loving about the portrayal. It just got me good. And that is like a through line in, I would say, all of John Carney's movies. It's just this love for, you know, where he comes from. And he's like, yeah, there's a smallness to it, but also, fuck it, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, I find that extremely charming. And then the other thread that runs through this is dad. This is such a dad movie. And I don't just mean dad rock. It's Nick Jonas's character. The way we are taught that he is actually cool and can hang is that he like knows the words to "I Wish" by Stevie Wonder. You know, like, it is the pinnacle of the young person is like, oh yeah, but this is the real shit. You know?
But apparently the whole wedding knows it.
Of course, yeah. There's the Paul Rudd daughter dynamic, which is wonderful. And again, we're given just enough to understand their relationship. Like, the movie wants to be in and out of there so it can focus on the music, but it is just enough to tee off like the waterworks when it happens in the end. And there really is this feeling, like you talked about the earnestness. Like, to me, that is the dad thread of the movie, is like, hey, and the movie even comments on it more than previous ones, where the daughter is talking about Paul Rudd's music, and she's like, "That's the kind of stuff you and mom would listen to. Like, that's not us anymore. You know, that isn't the culture." And he's like, "Yeah, but I want to do it. I want to do it anyway."
I do love that scene where she's like, "Nobody wants to fall in love. We want revenge."
Yeah,
you need to write a song about revenge.
Yeah, and it's not like it's kind of what I think is, I'm about to use the word brilliant when describing this movie, even though I think like the narrative construction has many flaws and it's like quite like cookie cutter. But what is kind of brilliant is it steers into all of the potential flaws of a John Carney movie or the John Carney music, where it's like, it is saying, look, Paul Rudd was not going to be the mega star right now. Yeah. Like, it does require a Nick Jonas. It requires things he wasn't going to do. It requires on Spotify, there are 3 versions of this song. There is the Nick Jonas version that is supposed to have been recorded, you know, that plays in like malls and stuff in the movie. There is the Nick Jonas version that is performed on stage, and there's the Paul Rudd version that is performed. The Nick Jonas one sounds like it could be a hit, right? Like I hear that. I still think the song isn't quite as strong in like the cold light of day as it is in a dark movie theater. But it sounds like it could be a hit. The Paul Rudd one is like grunge rock from the late 90s or pre-emo, right? Like there's things about it that I'm like, oh, this is real dad. This is I Can Only Imagine, basically. Like it literally sounds like Mercy Me could have performed it. But there's something that I love about it. It's this earnestness of, this is who I am. This is what I love. If it influences other people, if people can carry the torch, awesome, beautiful. I'm going to still doing it, like keep doing it my way. And there is something just very like heartwarming and infectious about that I liked. I also like the wacky friend character played by Peter McDonald as Sandy.
Oh yeah, dude, Sandy's the best.
Yeah, Sandy's great.
I also love like Sandy goes to that party and there's that chick that just like totally wants him, and he's like, yeah, but there's this guitar over here that I just want to play.
Yeah. How about you give me for a ride instead? Ears perk up, cut to. I also have to mention one of the guys, he must be one of the members of the band. He plays a person named Bernie. His name is Paul Reed. That must have been so complicated.
Oh, also, Steven, I almost don't want to admit this, but it wasn't until we started recording that I realized that the title of this film is a pun.
Oh, yeah. On the character's name, you mean?
Yeah. Because it's his ballad.
Yeah, I caught it in the first maybe like 2 minutes, because he says He says, "I'm Rick Power."
Yeah, I know. I just didn't even when he, the first time you said his name in the episode, I was like, "Oh my god, why did I not think of that?"
It's one of those things that I forget. There's a name for this that people have pointed to before. When
obvious.
a show or when a show or a movie makes a joke that only works because they came up with the character detail to tease up the joke in the first place.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's a pun on Power Ballad, but only because you decided to name him Power. That's kind of, I don't think that's quite a pun. That's like that's like a half pun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm shitting on the movie a little bit just because I was more whelmed, right? Like I was more like seeing the flaws as I was watching it. Now, my feeling while I was watching it was like, damn it, I'm about to go on the podcast and admit that I really, really quite like this movie. Like that this movie made me cry. And Chris and I are going to be the only two people who are saying that. And I'm just stealing myself for that moment and tallying all the list of things that I was like, well, if I was someone else, this would definitely bother me. This would definitely bother me. This would take me out of the movie. But I'm not. I'm me, and I enjoyed it.
I was watching I was watching the movie going, this one's a banger too. This one's a banger too.
I like too that this movie decided, like, everyone is basically playing at least where they're from, right? The Americans are American. They let the Irish people be Irish, except Jack Rayner, the most like canonically Irish guy from multiple previous movies we've seen him in. They decide he's going to be the douchebag LA person who like hates Ireland.
I mean, it's pretty funny though. I mean,
yeah, it is funny. It is funny. I appreciated it.
Yeah, it was good times.
When he first appeared, I really thought that he was going to be played by what's his name? The American Vandal breakout guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That guy.
Jimmy Tatro. I was so sure that it was like Jimmy Tatro. I was like, fuck, Jimmy's in this movie. Then I was like, nope. It's just Jack Rayner kind of like vaguely playing that role.
Yeah. Cool. Well, Steven, should we get to some verdicts for this film?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. If you were going to give this a must-see, recommend with the caveat, wait for rental, pass the caveat, or a must-avoid, what would you give it?
I have to give it a recommend with a caveat. Like my heart, every part of my brain says this is a rental movie. Like it is meant to be streamed. You should rent it, watch it with your loved one, feel something fuzzy and enjoy it, and then loop back and watch the moments when they're singing a few times, right? Because it really is better, I think, in the context of the movie than it is on its own. But I gotta just set coolness aside and admit, like, this movie made me tear up. It made me cry. It made me feel good for, an hour and a half plus. When I was walking back from the theater, I had the songs in my head. I was feeling a little bit lighter. I was feeling that wistful thing that like Sing Street and Once gave me too. And God bless John Carney. Like, he's going to do his thing. And if it's going to be cheesy, but he's going to pull together like a wonderfully game cast and keep churning out solid B plus 2000s era pop music for me, like, I'm going to keep showing up and I'm going to keep feeling things. So in the end, I recommend. The caveat is, like, I don't think this is a great movie in any way. I think it is very formulaic and really not trying any harder than it needs to, but it doesn't need to because it works.
Yeah, it does not need to. I love this movie. It's also recommended with the caveat for me. I would totally get it if people don't like this. But here's the thing, Steven. This currently has an 86 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow, I never checked. I didn't look at a single review.
And I just pulled it up just now. So 86% Rotten Tomatoes from the critics, 85% from the popcorn meter. Like, so the critics like this more than the audience is like.
Okay.
Like, we're not as crazy as we usually are.
I was just bracing. I didn't check anything. In my head, this would have like a 2.5 on Letterboxd. That was just my assumption. And people would be like, oh, John Carney really trying to revive the old magic, but lost his way.
Holy shit, hold on a second. Florence on had 93%.
What?
Never mind. Just forget everything.
Have we been like tilting at windmills? Everyone has loved every one of his movies the whole time.
Holy shit! I was gonna say
that can't be right.
Hold on, how many people actually saw it? I mean, and this is somebody who loved Florence.
That 90-something, that must be like the lowest average score of something to still achieve 90%.
Hold on, how do you see how many people actually
like 90 out of
it?
100 people gave it 3 out of 5 stars.
Hold on, how do you see the number of... I just clicked away from it. I don't know what happened. Anyways.
I'm sorry, I have to admit, I've not like thought about Flora and Son since the moment I stopped watching it. It takes up no real estate in my brain. I don't even remember what happens.
I've rewatched it.
She takes music lessons, and somehow the lag isn't an issue. And she also has a rapping kid, and they perform. That's the movie.
Steven, you haven't in your head said you haven't thought to yourself meet in the middle ever.
No, I haven't.
Oh, come on. Anyways, I think this is probably going to do it for our review of Power Ballad. And I guess Flora and Sons by association. Steven, if people want to find you throughout the week, where can they do that?
Well, Chris, people can go to Blue Sky at sdavidmiller or sdavidmiller.com.
People can find me at ChristopherInRealLife.com or Christopher IRL on a number of social platforms. You can find the podcast over at thespoilerwarning.com where you get a bunch of the back episodes of the show. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so on Overcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or wherever podcasts are found. If you want to know when the episodes go live, you can follow us at twitter.com/spoilerwarning, facebook.com/thespoilerwarning, or instagram.com/thespoilerwarning. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you can send an email to fans@thespoilerwarning.com, or you can use the contact form on our site. Music for this episode will come from a track selected from artlist.io, so hopefully you're enjoying that. And that is it for this week. We will see you next time. And
maybe we'll take it away with a little music, or in the very likely event that this microphone doesn't pick up anything, we're just gonna cut it. I thought of doing this like while we were getting ready right before this, so this is not my best work. But this is a song. It might sound like a love song, but it is actually for someone very special to me. If I was losing you and I had to produce, the plosives would be so loud, the levels would be rough, and even if I thought I couldn't nail the outro, I never wanna find out, how to do a pod without you. How to do a pod without you. How to do a pod without you. When every pod I ever cast in my life was about you. If I had to produce, my plosives would be so loud, the levels would be rough, and even if I fought, I doubt I'd nail the outro. I never wanna find out, how to do a pod without you. How to do a pod without you. How to do a pod without you. When every pod I ever cast in my life
Girl featuring Tyler Perry to Queen of Earth by Alex Ross. You've been there for the lot. How to pod, you never did tell me. How to pod, you never did help me. How to pod, you never did show me how. For example, how do I update the RSS feed? Does Spotify require another custom integration? How do you synchronize the audio? Or like, what exactly was that other MP3 feed for? What's the password to our Squarespace admin page? Is YouTube cross-encoded manually, or is there some other automated workflow you do so you don't have to do it by hand every other time? If I were losing you, if I had to produce, my plosives would be so loud. The levels would be rough, and even if I fought, I doubt I'd nail the outro. I never wanna find out, bro, how to do a pod without you. How to do a pod without you. How to do a pod without you. When every pod I ever cast in my life was about you. From Gone Girl featuring Tyler Perry, Queen of Earth by Alex Ross. Been there for the lot. How to pod, you never did tell me. How to pod, you never did tell me. How to pod, you never did show me how. For example, how do I update the RSS feed? Does Spotify require another custom integration? How do you synchronize the audio? Or like, what exactly was that other MP3 feed for? What's the password to our Squarespace